If you have clothes that you think that has big potential in your market, but you're not where you want to be in terms of sales and scale, this video I can guarantee will change your life. Okay, there are more clothing brands being made in a day than kids being born. Okay, I want you to think about that, right? Meaning there are more competition in your niche and vertical than ever before. Okay, even Google and all, there's so many research paper about it, right? Highly oversaturated, characterized by intense competition, overproduction, and rapid trend cycles, right? I can guarantee, like literally, you have seen it yourself, right? Everybody has a clothing brand, or at least ran one in the past or have failed, right? Because the truth is, the ability to start and create a clothing brand has become easier than ever with AI and all these tools that are just available now, okay? Now, with the current market, there is more supply than demand, right? The clothing brand market has fundamentally changed. What worked 3 to 5 years ago doesn't work anymore. And the brands that don't adapt are going to get left behind, not because their product is bad or the product is outdated, but because the game has changed around the product and around you, okay? And if you're new here, you're probably wondering, why would you listen to an Asian guy, you know, in front of a screen, right? Little background, how I sort of first started going into the industry. My cousin owns a brand called IAB Studio. It's a pretty big brand in South Korea, and obviously, from my experience as well, I have been blessed with the opportunity to work with some pretty fucking cool clothing brands like Anna Michon, Burma, St. P, working them from the very start, from obviously helping scale Anna Michon all the way from 0 to 35, Burma from 0 to versus 30, St. P from 0 to 40K a month, okay? Now, the reason why I'm telling you this is because this game has never been harder, okay? Unless you understand this one thing, okay? The brands that are winning, right, aren't winning on products. They're winning on the community, okay? And in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to build that for your clothing brand, okay? We have scaled over 22 clothing brands all the way from 0 to 7K a month plus in this oversaturated niche using what we call the community funnel, okay? And before I break down exactly how this works, let me show you what it's actually produced for real clothing branders. Just a little glimpse of it. Charlotte went from 0 to 7.5, Quentin and Mo went from 3K all the way to 25K a month, Shay went from 0 to 33, Kilan went from 3 to 40, Burma went from 0 to 10, Adi went from 0 to 5, Kat went from 15 to 63K a month, Junior went from 0 to 5K a month, Jason went from 50K a month, hitting its 80K a month consistently, Luke went from 0 to 12K a month, David went from 0 to 9K a month, Patel went from not even having a product to 3.5K a month, 3 months, okay? Now, the thing that I want you to understand is we first need to understand why most brands fail and why most brand owners fail, okay? Now, number one is this. The product is just surface level. All they think about is the design. Brand owners don't think how to create more product value other than the design and the quality of the product. Let me ask you this, right? People that pay $10,000 for a Louis Vuitton bag, right? Do you think they pay because the design looks cool or because the material is that good? No material is worth $10,000, right? They're buying because the value that they get from the product. The product is just one physical token, and that's the thing that I need you to realize. So many brand owners are just so obsessed getting the product perfect, and they're only thinking about 5% of it, not the actual true service face value, right? Number two is organic marketing. Usually brand owners just post random shit, post stuff that looks cool and pretty to them, right? Get content ideas from just either copying other brands or just in their head because they think they're creative, okay? Ads, they give ads a go because you see other brands succeed with it. Maybe you try to search up on that ads and you see people with these crazy results, right? You don't know or have any testing structure. You don't know any company KPIs. And quite frankly, you're just gambling. And so what I've also seen recently after talking with so many brand owners is they're just getting the motions of starting to use random AI photos, shitty creatives, talking about your product benefits, right? Like the question I want you to ask is, how does that create any leverage? If there are shitty brands that are just using AI to make content, right? That just blends in right to 99% of what the other people are doing. How does that create any leverage? It doesn't, right? You just become another shitty brand that's being created by an 18-year-old kid. Again, I'm not calling you an 18-year-old kid, right? But it's just another one of those TikTok, another one of those AI-looking brands, right? Website, you see people visiting your site but not purchasing and think website is the issue. Like that is what 99% of brand owners think, right? They think, oh, I'm getting 30 store sessions a day, but it's not converting. Maybe my website's the issue. You don't even know the exact KPIs. You don't even know the exact bottlenecks that you need to specifically look for regarding around the website, right? 99% of the time, the website is not a conversion problem, right? You're bringing in the wrong ICPNs, usually the above problem in terms of the actual funnel and the type of quality of leads that you bring into your website, okay? Now, after this, what usually happens is what I like to call a panic mode, right? You think ads don't work for your brand, you think organic don't work for your brand, and you don't know what the real bottleneck is. And sometimes I've seen as well is sometimes brand owners blame, oh, maybe my product is not that good enough, right? Of course, there's a chance, but that's usually not the chance, right? And they get after the panic mode, what they usually do is what I like to call the try random shit mode, right? They try random shit. That says it in the name, right? They try fucking Pinterest ads. They try to send influencers products to help do affiliate marketing. Like just tries random shit with no direction. Same thing, right? And what either happens is either the motivation disappears, right? The brand either gives up or is delusion, just keeps trying with a lack of clarity. And let me ask you this, right? They try harder doing the exact same thing, making more content, doing ads, right? More without clear clarity will lead you to nothing, right? And I want you to have a look at this image, right? It's like shooting a bow and arrow and you're trying to hit the target. Let's just say the target is you hitting 10K a month, right? You have a blindfold on. You don't know the right direction in terms of where the target actually is, and you haven't learned the proper form to shoot. If you have a blindfold on, right, and you don't learn the proper skills to actually shoot a proper bow and arrow, and you just keep doing what you know, right, this is exactly what's going to happen, right? You just keep getting in the same position, you keep fucking up, and you keep going back to the same position, and time and money is being wasted, right? And that's the same thing that we've seen, right? And the thing that I want you to understand, you watching this, is the reason why none of this works is not because your product is bad. I want you to get that out of the mind, right? Literally, Balenciaga sells fucking clothes that look homeless, right? You see so many brands that sell shit looking clothes out to you because they work. It's because of value that they created in relation to their community, right? It's not because as well your ads are specifically wrong. It's not because your content isn't good enough. It's because you're positioning your brand to sell a product, okay? And in an era like this, if you position your clothing brand to sell a product, you have no leverage over your competitors, right? The only way to leverage and stand out is to create an actual community. This is the only way you can create real leverage inside your market, okay? The reason why I paid over $1,000 for this Maison Margiela is because the community and the branding they have associated with it to it, right? If you were to have the exact same product, right? The exact same manufacturer, the exact same design, the exact same quality, right? I can guarantee you people won't pay you $1,000 to buy the same shirt, right? Because it doesn't have the same value. It has the same physical aspect, but it doesn't have the same value. And that's the thing that I need you to understand, okay? Now, going in depth into the actual introduction to the community funnel, and this is what most brands think. A funnel means running ads to a landing page and hoping someone buys. That is not what this is, okay? And that's not what a funnel is, okay? The community funnel is a complete brand ecosystem that turns cold strangers, people who have never heard about your brand, okay, not your family and friends buying it and you think you're getting sales, right? People that have never heard about your brand into loyal community members, and loyal community members into consistent paying customers, okay? It's not just this one tactic, it's not just ads, it's not just content, it's the full system that connects your brand identity, your content, your paid traffic, your website, and your retention system all working together as one machine. You sort of have to look at it as like a vehicle, right? If you look at an F1 car, it's not just the wheels that make the car fast. It's not just the driver. It's not the brand owner that, wins you the race. It's all these high level components working with each other, right, inside the vehicle that produces the result. And that's the same thing that I need you to understand with the community funnel. It's not just the ads, because I can guarantee you, right, scaling your brand to 10, 20, 50, 100K a month, ads won't do that. Ads is only one piece of the puzzle. It's like having a good engine, but without a top tier wheel, right, then that's not going to win you the race, okay? Let's get into this, okay? This is the introduction to the actual community funnel, okay? First things first is we start with the branding aspect, and I want you to understand this is like the branding, obviously in relation to the product, and the creative ecosystem will feed the entire system, okay? And it's the most important part, and many people think branding is just using consistent fonts, having a nice product that looks cool, and just making cool fucking content. And that's what people think branding is, right? There's more to it, right? There's the USP, the selling point proposition, the value proposition, the messaging of the brand, your hyper targeting ideal customer profile, the tonality and feeling once a customer enters your brand ecosystem, your daily pain points within the customer profile, the direction problem with a niche, and the solution that your brand and product provides to them should generate a certain type of feeling in all regulation, right? And if you look at some of our client brands and you see some of the content, you see some of the Instagram profiles and the website and the overall branding, this doesn't come by accident. Like look at how some of our brands, right? St. P, Pluto Golf, Brimmer, right? Look at all the type of content. You enter their brand ecosystem, you have some sort of feeling. You don't create that just by making cool content, making cool clothes. There's structure and systems that needs to be applied to have a specific branding to it, okay? Now, after we get our branding dialed, we have to develop our creative ecosystem. The reason why we need to develop our creative ecosystem first before we even get into ads, organic, or any of this shit is because that's the fuel. How are you meant to win the race? How are you meant to win the race if you don't have the proper fuel that's gonna fuel your vehicle? You can't, right? So the first thing that we need to do is after we get our branding and product sorted and we're happy with that and we have clear intent in terms of the messaging, who we're actually targeting with our ICP, right? We go into the actual creative ecosystem to try and build an environment, a pool of UGC influencers, a pool of family members and your current resources to build an environment where we can make consistent content, right? That can reflect upon our branding, all right? And these two will basically practically work well with each other to actually feed the rest of the system, okay? Now, after the branding and after the creative ecosystem, we go into it's basically the engine of the vehicle, which is basically our main traffic generator. It's organic marketing and ads, okay? It's not organic marketing that's gonna scale. It's not just ads that are gonna scale. It's a combination of both in the community funnel. Organic marketing is very fucking powerful because it gives you massive leverage, right? We live in a world where we can post something and generate attention for free. Do you know how powerful that is? That is insanely powerful. That is why organic marketing is huge, right? The only problem with organic marketing, even if you have the right strategies, framework, and structure, not for the brands that are completely freestyling it, right? Even if you have all of those components, it's still going to take a long time. That's why we like to combine it with an actual meta ads acquisition strategy. And those two sort of complement each other working well while the organic grows as amplify the growth, right? While the organic sort of almost helps the ad return of ad spends and the acquisition itself, right? Now, organic marketing, right? Having specific intent with our content, having specific funnels, right? From top funnel, middle funnel, bottom funnel, right? Tie strategy to our specific branding, right? And obviously our content pillars from trust, education, benefits, and product solution, right? And the reason why, if you look at all of our clients' content, like Client Anna Michon, Pluto Golf, right? All of these comments, right? They're filled with people that fucking want our product. They literally DM us, hey, when is this dropping? Hey, do you guys have a pre-order, right? Hey, when are you guys dropping? Hey, like all these stuff, that's what we're able to sell out within months, right? Because we create that demand. And you can't create that demand unless you have proper branding and unless you have a proper creative ecosystem, but in the combination of specific funnels and you understanding what type of content you need to make to educate your buyers through your buyer's journey, okay? Now, we combine that with ads because we know organic marketing alone will take too long, okay? So we go into cold meta ads, specifically with cold, targeting people who have never heard about your brand, who have never purchased something, or it doesn't even know about you, right? Sales is still the objective, but for the unaware audience, right? We control the targeting through the actual creatives and ad structure. And most importantly, we need to understand our key performance indicators before we even go into the actual ad account. Because if we don't understand KPIs are like the language, right? It's language, right? If you're reading a book and you don't understand English, what the fuck are you reading? You don't know how to read, right? And you can't get any information out of it. The ability to read KPIs is the ability to determine your success with ads. Simple as that. Because if we understand our KPIs, we know what KPIs we need to search for within an ad account, right? We can make the ability to make the right decisions, That's all it is, right? So if you're running ads with like KPIs, that is the same thing as just gambling your fucking money, right? You're putting $100, $200 in, hoping you get a sale. What is that any difference to gambling? Just go to the casino if you don't have this sorted, okay? Now, pretty cool shit happens if you understand and rely your organic marketing, right, with the right acquisition strategy with it, especially when you're cold targeting with your creatives, okay? Like our client Kilon bought his first fucking Rolex within 2 weeks after we launched his first campaign. Nico, right, didn't even have a fucking, didn't even have an ad account running, okay? Again, this isn't rocket science, okay? It's not rocket science. It's just the ability to have intent in terms of what we do, because I kid you not, the implementation becomes easier if you know what you need to implement, okay? Now, organic marketing, cold meta ads, combination of both will work towards bringing traffic to the website. Not just traffic, but education traffic buyers, right? Buyers with high intent, right? Because a website can't educate your customers in terms of what you do, what your product solves, the branding and everything. The whole purpose of a website is to just have that last hand handle any objection that your customer might face. They already have to be in the buyer state, right? And for them to get into the buyer state, these 4 components need to work well each other to get to your website, okay? Now, website, your homepage, your product page, your collection page needs to be well optimized in terms of conversion optimization, okay? But that's a story for another time, okay? Now, through our website, only a good conversion rate depending on the traffic. Obviously, not 100% of them are going to convert, right? Usually, a good conversion rates anyway sits from 2% to 5%. Obviously, depending on the niches, verticals, the daily store sessions, and the ticket price you have within your products, right? But we have 2 components after a website to sort of build that community and support for the people that haven't bought. Number 1 is email and SMS marketing. Optimize sign-up page so we capture all level of leads, right, through value from people who have purchased, from people who haven't purchased, and it creates opportunity to retarget and nurture through flows and proper sequences, right? Same thing with obviously our client Charlotte, $500 a day so far, right? Grew to 1,000 followers, and we did that through retargeting through our email and SMS, right? And then second, we have a retargeting acquisition, which quite frankly, this is where we generate insane profitability, right? Just because we are now targeting your warm audiences that we have generated through organic marketing and your ad acquisition, okay? Retargeting ads, targeting hyper-specific audiences with our specific crate target, and that's where we're able to generate our insane fucking results, right? This is where the real money is made, right? With our retargeting, right? Return of ad spends was 6.1. Again, if you don't know what a ROAS is, again, that's a problem, but for people that sort of need clarification, it's a return of ad spend. So, for example, if you want to get a 3x ROAS, you spend $1 and get $3 back for profitability, right? 6.18 ROAS, 16.79, 7.94, 4.71, 6.38, 4 ROAS, 14.56, 11x ROAS. We hit 8 ROAS to make $30,000, which is fucking insane. You can do the math, right? 5x ROAS, 4.71 average, 9.8. Again, the list can go on. Okay, you sort of get the powerful tool of retargeting. If you do this right and you structure it right, it is a money printing machine while working with meta ads, and that's why the arrow is important, because the cold ads will bring in people that have never even heard about your brand, and the retargeting loop through our creatives, right, and our testing structure and our KPI analysis are able to sort of work together to bring in more traffic through our website as well, okay? Now, we have our email retargeting. Sort of look at this as like almost like a feedback loop system, right? And the reason why I call it feedback loop is because if you don't have data, first of all, you need to have data. Second of all, if you don't have data, how are you meant to scale any business? How, like genuinely, right? I don't believe like brand owners that go through and they think they can scale to 10K a month, or 20K a month, 30K a month without even understanding what the data even means. How is that even possible? Because as a business owner, we need to make decisions, right? And to make the right decisions, we can't just make decisions of what we think. We need to make decisions of actual numbers from your businesses, all right? And that's KPIs, right? We apply a feedback loop system to improve data using direct marketing feedback, all right? Kilon, scaling to 100K a month is just a matter of volume at this point. Like from day one, all our clients know what they need to do because they understand the data, KPI, much more. They have clarity, right? We apply the feedback loop system to identify true bottlenecks with an email, SMS, retargeting, cold meta ads, organic marketing, right? See where the miss is. So sort of look at it this way for this funnel, right? We have organic marketing, and a call acquisition coming to the website. For people that haven't purchased, right, we use an email SMS to get them back to our website, right? And then we flow through, because obviously no business is perfect. We use a feedback loop system to identify bottlenecks, to analyze every single KPI in each of the funnel, from branding, our ecosystem, our organic, our cold, our website, our email, our retargeting ads. We get all of our KPIs, all of our bottlenecks, and see where we can improve, right? Which comes back to lifetime value of, again, this game is pretty simple. It's the LTV systems improve the CAC over LTV. That's all it is. And to win this game, all you have to do is to acquire a customer very cheap and for them to buy from you a lot. That's it, right? So cost per acquisition, which is how much it requires to cost you to buy a customer to shop from you, and how long they shop from you, so the lifetime value of it, right? And if you master this, which is the whole point of this funnel, is to get them back, right? Obviously the feedback loop system and every single thing here sort of ties down to a community. The reason for that is so many people just stop at this and website. That's it, right? So many people don't even think about combining the organic. Everything just works together. So you sort of create this community and you get these like-minded people to be educated and nurtured about what you solve as a brand, the messaging of the brand. You just create massive scale for doing that, right? Now, the thing that I want you to say is, if you don't have a clear system and structure that can be reverse engineered to your revenue goals, you are wasting your time. Okay, and every clothing brand owner that operates without a game plan cannot scale and profit. Okay, and same as our clients do, they all have a game plan, so they know exactly what to do from day one. Okay, and having a clear roadmap and working on the stuff that you know will work, even if the results are not immediate, will change your life. It's like getting a six-pack, right? And you don't having an understanding of what you actually need to do in the gym, right? And you do chest press and you just keep doing it. And in 3 weeks, the results are not going to be immediate. Right? And you feel discouraged because, first of all, you don't actually know if it's going to work or not. And number two is you don't even know if, again, it's not going to work or not, right? However, right, if you actually know the results, right, for example, you're actually doing core training and you know it will eventually get there, even though the results aren't immediate, you're going to have more motivation. You're going to have more discipline when it comes to actually doing this thing. And that's the biggest separator from a successful brand owner and a brand owner that never scales, okay? So I'm going to go with you a specific 90-day roadmap so you can actually implement this in your brand, so you can create massive scale to build an actual community that you can actually scale with. So the community funnel 90-day implementation. Phase 1 or the 90-day is to build a branding and foundation to identify brand bottlenecks. Okay, before we even go and sort of start building shit, right, we need to identify what has actually been stopping you, all right? Now, what we do is deep dive audit of the current brand situation in terms of your product, the positioning of your brand, the content, website, and the actual marketing in terms of what you're actually doing, right? Identify exactly where revenue is leaking and what's been holding you back. Build your customer community funnel game plan specifically to your brand stage and goals in terms of everything we went over specifically. And most importantly, in terms of branding foundation, we need to have a strong understanding of our ICP, our USP, our UP, our UM, our messaging, to find creating marketing angles to attract the right people in the community, right? It's like you're having this gated community, right? And for example, you only want rich people to have in this community, right? Think about the marketing words and angles you need to sort of say to get rich people into your community. And that's the same thing. But if we don't understand the basic foundations of what we are as a brand, how are we meant to attract those people? And that's the same way I need you to think about this, right? And why this comes first, because most brands skip this entirely and go straight to running ads or posting content with no clear direction. And that is exactly why they stay stuck at that same number month after month, okay? Before we build anything, we need to know exactly what we're building and why, okay? And without this phase, everything else is just guesswork with a budget attached to it, and you're leaking budget, okay? I sort of look at it this way. You have a clothing brand, right? And you're driving in a highway. It's the same thing, right? And your car breaks down because you can't get to its destination. If you have an engine problem, why would we work on the wheel first? We will work on the engine logically, right? If the engine is fixed and we can get to our destination closer, we will do that first. And that's the same thing, right? And after this phase, total clarity on what's been holding your brand back so we can identify clear bottlenecks, a custom roadmap specifically around your brand so we can have the utmost clarity. You stop guessing and start executing with clear direction for the first time, and we have a clean 10 ICP angle, okay? Phase 2 in terms of roadmap is to actually develop a winning product. Okay, and plus in addition to the branding development, which is week 1 to 3. right? And the thing that we need to do is a product market fit analysis. Make sure what you're selling, people actually want to buy within market, not just design. Again, at the very start of the call, design is only one piece of the value, okay? Number two is building value within product, tying down to ICP pain point to create that emotional feeling and an actual solution inside the market. Number three is to establish your brand identity, your creative direction and visual language in terms of your consistent branding structure, building a brand story and positioning so you stand out in an oversaturated market, obviously developing a unique angle and setting the foundation that every other system we build will sit on top of it, okay? We're still building a foundation. Now, why this comes seconds is this is a phase most brands either skip or get completely wrong, okay? You cannot scale a brand with no clear identity in terms of what you're trying to achieve in your market, okay? If you run ads to a brand with no position, you're paying to spend people to something that doesn't even convert, okay? Phase three is the actual website, okay? We need to build a high converting website first before we start pouring fucking traffic to it, okay? We need to have a full website ordered against our conversion optimization framework, right? Identify and fix the specific elements, killing your conversion rate. Look for the KPIs and bottlenecks first. Reverse engineer it from our metrics, not more of how the website looks or making the website look prettier, okay? Handle all objections within the buyer's journey. This is depending on your niche and vertical, or you're going to have customer rejections depending on the type of niche you're in, and we need to handle that and build that in your website and controlling the customer experience, okay? Phase four is the actual creative masterclass. Identify the exact craze your specific brand needs to scale with an organic marketing and ads, right? And sort of build out an actual ideation process, a creative hypothesis, tie down to an ICP angle, tie down to a USP to UDP, and the implementations of creative format that we need, okay? And the thing that why we took so much importance into building our creatives is, quite frankly, creative is 90% of what makes an ad work or fail. It really is, right? And most brands run ads with the wrong creatives and blame the platform, right? Meta is the problem, Instagram is the problem, the creative is half the time, right? And before we turn on the ad machine, we make sure the fuel is right? It's like putting diesel in a leaded car. It doesn't make sense. It's going to break, right? Because the wrong fuel doesn't just underperform, it just burns your fucking cash and budget, right? And most importantly, your confidence as well, okay? Creative is a new target. That's the thing that I want you to understand. Phase five, after we have all this sorted so far, is to build an actual organic marketing strategy and system. Build out the entire organic marketing funnel from top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel content. Control our profile presentation in regards to controlling the perceived value of the brand and product, right? Tying down to the value, right? Set up a creative ecosystem so content can be built out consistently without burning out in terms of environment, UGC, etc., and dial in community building with socials, trust plus LTV, right? Tying down the community aspect within every single content piece, right? So every single customer knows what our brand actually provides as a solution, okay? Now, why this comes fifth, okay? Why this is the fifth part of the phase, right? Organic is like the heartbeat of your community, okay? Paid acquisition does not work without a strong organic marketing foundation and system. Ad is only an amplifier, okay? Organic plus ads is how you create scale within the right community, okay? A winning organic systems comes with a content intent, understanding funnels and controlling how your brand is perceived within the market, okay? Now, phase six is sort of building the money machine, which is what I love, okay? Number one is to set up your complete custom ad system from scratch. Number two is understanding plus setting up our KPI custom column so you know what KPIs you need to look for. And most importantly, you can understand. It's like a language, right? Number three is setting up baseline company KPIs so you know what type of KPIs we need to hit to make a successful ad, right? Set up the entire ad acquisition from our pixel conditioning, our audience segmentation, our ad account card, set up everything, right? We need to understand our creative verticals, our creative concepts, understand testing structures, build custom ad setup in relation to our brand, build a retargeting system to convert warm audiences, right? And optimize and dial KPI for 3x ROAS, which is the goal with every single ad when we start, okay? Now, this is sort of like the last thing we do, right? And this, it's kind of funny because it's usually the first thing that brands do is just run ads to a product, right? With no foundation, right? And that's why most brands fucking lose money, right? Ads are only an amplifier to what you already have built. If your brand is shit and you run ads, the ads become shit. If your brand is good, even though your ad structure is kind of shit, it's still gonna be good. Simple as that. Phase seven is sort of like a last ending phase. It's what I like to call our LTV mastery, turning customers into a niche community, which sort of ties everything together within the community funnel, right? We need to set up your full retention marketing system in email, SMS, your post-purchase flows, campaign plus flows. Number two is to build your customer loyalty and repeat purchase strategy so we can be in a position where we can obviously number one have increased LTV, so people that bought from you buys from you again, and number two is sort of retarget those people that miss from buying from you. Number three is to create a community touchpoint that turns one-time buyers into sort of brand advocates. Fourth is to implement the feedback loop system. So every drop-in campaign gets better than the last, right? We need to make decisions off numbers. I can't stress this enough, okay? CAC, LTV is the ultimate goal to win this game, okay? If you can acquire a customer cheap, right, and they buy from you a lot and spend a lot of time with you, then you won the game, right? Phase A comes back to the start in terms of optimization, dialing. All about knowing your numbers and dialing, optimizing to make these systems better, okay? I know I went through a lot, right? I went through a lot, but this is the exact system you need to scale. And I'm not saying this is a magic strategy if you implement it's gonna make it work, right? But you need to build a community. If you don't build a community, you are going to become another brand that maybe have a good month and disappear, right? Because there are just so many brand owners. If you have any questions, shoot me a message on Instagram. Happy to help you out, right? And if you actually want this dialed for you and go deeper into the actual roadmap, the community, the acquisitions, everything in terms of actual implementation so you can have more clarity, book a call with me down below, with me and my team, right? So we can have a full audit, we can help you one-on-one, see where your brand's at, and we'll go from there. But nevertheless, I would say this, hope you got some value out of it. If you haven't, you've just wasted 30 minutes watching this shit.